Hey guys, this is Johan Lund, and today I'm checking out the new updated version of the Sigma amp sim by AudioSalt. What's up everyone? AudioSalt has updated their already awesome sounding plugin, the Amp Sim Sigma. And they've added some cool features in the latest update, which I will go through. And I'll also show you how I got the tone from the demo that you heard before. But first of all, I'm going to show you the signal chain that I'm using here. First of all, I have my Solar Guitars A1.7 straight into my Focusrite Sapphire Pro 40. And on the guitar track here, I start off with an EQ that I set before the amp sim. This trick I learned from Buster Odoholm from Humanity's Last Breath and Vildhjärta, also an awesome producer, mixing engineer. And the idea here is to have a low shelf boost, which helped me accentuate the low end when I palm mute a bit higher up on the frets, where the low end is not as prominent as if you palm mute on the lower frets. So I have a shelf here at around 140 Hertz, around 5 decibels, 6 decibels. Cut out some muddiness at around 300 Hertz, minus 5 decibels or so. And I add some aggressiveness around 1.3 kilohertz. Right now is around 4 decibels of boost. These values is dependable on which amp sim I'm using. But it's normally hovers around these values. After that, I have the Sigma, and I'll go through all these settings later. After that, I have a bit of cut at the higher register, and this is also dependable on what IR I'm using. But I felt that this worked fine for the IR that I used in this demo. On the guitar bus, which is the master bus, you can say, for this purpose, I have the Flatline Clip plugin. It's a new plugin from Submission Audio. It's an awesome plugin that lives on my master bus. It doesn't affect the tone at all, but it really helps me get the correct level, mainly for this purpose. So I encourage you to check this out. It's really cool. And that's pretty much it. So starting off with the Sigma. First cool thing that I noticed on this one is that the GUI is completely scalable. So you can have it as small as you want, as so, or as big as you want to. And that's really, it comes in handy if you have a lot of plugins going on your session, and if you want to have them open but still have the amp visible, you can just scale it to whatever scale you want. When you load the plugin up, it starts with all the settings at noon. I'll go through all these settings so you can hear how they sound. And starting off from left, you have the power on and off. And 3-channel amp, the lead channel, which I use as a rhythm channel. I have a crunch channel, and also a clean channel. let's stick with the lead channel for this demo, since we're all about the metals here, right? To the left here you have a stomp box section. They had a gate and a boost function on the previous version as well, but now you have 3 pedals to choose from. First off, you have the gate, which is pretty self-explanatory. You just turn it on and turn this dial to whatever level you want the gate to react. If you have a bit lower gain signal, you want it to be a bit less reactive, but if you have like a breakdown section with a lot of gain, just turn the gate up and you can chug away. I can give you an example here. And if we crank the gain, set the gate a bit higher, for maximum chugginess. And cool tip that I have for you is, since you can automate all these buttons, you can try have a different gain structure throughout your song and adjust the gate accordingly. So for instance, if you have a lower gain on the verse, and then when the breakdown hits at the end, you can turn the gain up and then adjust the gate accordingly. So you don't have to have 2 different tracks. You can just automate the settings on the pedals. And the next pedal is this boost pedal, which boosts the lows and the highs. You can adjust them whichever way you want. If you, for instance, want to just boost the high, or the lows, or both. And the next pedal is the drive pedal, which is a screamer emulation. And this is the way I would normally set up a regular screamer. Might turn this tone knob a bit up if it was a normal pedal, but for this demo I felt that putting it on 5 was good enough. And the way I use it is like a clean boost. I turn the drive all the way to 0 and the level all the way up, so it pushes the front end of the amp. Pedal off. You can actually turn down the gain and use the screamer as your push into that. A bit tighter and a bit cleaner. So that's it with the pedals. Really cool feature. Moving on to the amp section. The buttons here are pretty standard on an amp. I have a low and high boost. The gain knob here. Bass. Middle. Presence. Resonance. master volume, which acts like a saturator. You can turn this up and turn down the output, saturate the amp without overloading the signal. It's a bit too much. And a focus knob here. Basically, keeping all the buttons at noon gives you a really good starting point. I'm gonna turn down the gain here since I'm using the Screamer. And the next section is the cab section here, where you have really cool IRs included by C-Cow cabs. And the updated feature here is that you can load 2 different types of IRs and blend them with this A and B button here. You can also, of course, load your own IRs if you like, or third-party IRs. You can just press the plus sign here, put it to your designated folder, and use your IRs there. And the IR that came loaded by default was the Sigma 4x12, and that's the cab that I used on the demo, and sounds really good. So that was my favorite IRs. That together with this RVXX 4x12 sounds pretty similar. Take a listen. Bit more mid-range, so the Sigma was my preferred IR in this one. Down here you have a face flip button, which comes in really handy if you blend different types of cabs. You might have to flip the face in order for them to get in phase. Next up you have a high pass filter, a low pass filter, a pan knob if you want to pan different cabs to either side. The level button here is also handy if you want to blend different types of cabs. You can just adjust the level if one of them is louder sounding than the other one. That's pretty much it for the cab section. The next section is the FX section, where you have a graphic EQ, a delay, and reverb, and these are really good if you want to have a lead tone or maybe have ambient tones going, so you don't have to have external delays or reverbs. The delay and reverb was used on the solo section in the demo, and I think it sounds really good. You have your standard delay, sync to sync the BPM, feedback, width, and the mix knob on the delay. On the reverb you have size, decay, tone, pre-delay, and mix. For a really cool ambient tone you can just crank the mix to 100% basically, use the size, and then you're good to go. So I can demonstrate the sound of the delay first. Add that with the reverb. Take down the mix a bit. Reduce the size. That's a cool lead sound that you can get out of the plugin by using the delay and reverb. If you want to use more like an ambient tone, you can just crank the mix knob on the delay, crank the mix knob on the reverb, adjust the size, adjust the decay, and maybe some longer delay, and you have a cool like ambient tone. Let's go back and I'll try to dial in a cool clean sound and maybe some crunch sound as well. So I'll go down to clean channel and I'll shut up and start to fiddle with some knobs here. Cool, sounding clean. Go over to the crunch channel. Add some drive. Nice chugginess from their crunch channel as well. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. A really cool update to an already awesome sounding amp sim. If you have any questions on the amp sim or any other question, just leave them in the comment section down below. And while you're here, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever I release a new video. And until then, I'll see you later.